hours of sports talk entertainment starts right now. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen.
Well done, by the way.
The epitome of sports talk entertainment. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. How the heck are you? Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is live. I am Rob Brown. The pleasure is mine, but not exclusively, because on the other side of the glass, metaphorically speaking today, in charge of the broadcast, literally speaking, Sultan of Swag, Professor of Perfection, Wizard of Wave, Alpha and the Omega of the Fan Upstate. He is the conductor of the Symphony of Sound that is the Rob Brown Show. He is the great one, Lonzo. What's up, Zo?
Someone messed all our stuff up. I mean, this nothing's working right.
Unreal.
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievable.
I know. I mean,
it's not unbelievable.
You know what? Leave it how you found it. I mean, that's, you want to make changes and all that. That's good. That's fine. That's fine. Do your thing.
Do your thing, boo.
But leave it how you found it.
Do your thing, boo.
Put it back the way it was.
Yes, please. How's everybody? Hope y'all are doing well.
I thought you were going to say, yes, boy.
Yes, queen. We got stuff to get into today on the show, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Yankees struck out 17 times yesterday. Out of 27 outs, 17 of them garnered by K. The Houston Astros yesterday struck out twice. That is a 15 K differential betwixt the two, and it is the largest K differential in a postseason game all time. All time. That, ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot. That's a lot of differences. That's a lot. It's just a lot. It is what it is. It's just a lot. The Astros look like the best team in Major League Baseball yesterday. They were swatting the ball. They were putting the ball in play. They were doing it from 1 to 9 up and down the lineup. It was remarkable what the Houston Astros did. I thought about this. Is there a team remaining in the championship series? Is there a team remaining in these championship series that you have any rooting interest in? Right? The Stros still get bagged on for being cheaters. The Yankees are the Yankees. I don't know anybody outside of Philadelphia sports fans that likes Philadelphia sports. The Padres, maybe? Like, I'm kind of team Padres on the right here. Good comeback from them yesterday. They had a disastrous second inning, giving up 4 to the Phillies, but then they came back and just chipped away, took the lead and won the game. We're all knotted up at 1 apiece, headed back to Philly. I liked it. But is there a team in the World Series that I suspect that this World Series might be a lower rated television World Series because there's not really a team likable left in it. I mean, San Diego is to me, but San Diego's like, well, they're like vanilla ice cream. I don't know what that little sound I just made was. It's early. They're like vanilla ice cream. Like, yeah, if it's on the plate, I'm happy. But I've never gone out to get vanilla ice cream, right? But it's not a thing I go searching for at any point. So anyway, I'm just curious. Anybody got a rooting interest? Last night, ladies and gentlemen, my New Orleans Pelicans made their season debut, and they put it down on the Brooklyn Nets. Absolutely laid out Kyrie, KD in the game. Z is back. 50% from the floor, 3 of 4 from the stripe, 25 points, 4 steals, 3 assists, 9 boards. 3 of them second chance opportunities. Welcome back, Z. Good to have you back, Zion. They were able to keep, Durant had 32. Kyrie had 15, 13 for Claxton, 10 for O'Neal. Nobody else in double digits for the Nets. Keegan sent me a message right after the game was over. And he's like, all right, Rob Brown, what's the narrative tomorrow? Is the narrative tomorrow that Brooklyn is bad or that New Orleans is good or some combination of the both?
It's over, baby. Pelicans winning it all. That sounds painful.
Feels good when you put it in that context. Feels good when you put it in that context. 23-point differential. Minus 23 with the Brooklyn Nets when their starting five was up against New Orleans starting five. Brandon Ingram after the game was talking to reporters, and he's like, I'm pretty excited because this team's good. Like, this team's good. And it didn't seem like or sound like he was saying it the way that, any player would sound. Like, it felt like he was offended by the fact that ain't nobody talking about Nola and Z. Is this selfish of me to talk about? Yep. Am I doing it anyway? Yep. Because it's been a hot minute since I've had a really good basketball team. So I'm rolling with it.
So you don't think he might be just overreacting just a little bit? It's been just one game.
Maybe.
Right? You don't think maybe you're just reacting this way because Zion's actually out on the court and made it through the entire game?
You know how I'm reacting right now? The same way that I'm reacting about Christian McCaffrey putting together 100-yard games. It's like I'm going to take every one of them I can get until the next injury happens.
So you're saying you have an injury-prone star, but you're going to enjoy him while he's out on the court?
Damn right.
Okay.
Damn right. That's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying. All right, but all of that aside, there was something out of the NBA world that kind of made me chuckle just a little bit. There is something out of the NBA world that kind of made me laugh a little bit. I got a couple of clips in there, if you don't mind here, Lonzo. Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole in the face really, really hard, right? And then Draymond did something that I went, what now? Wait, what now? Draymond Green produced his own documentary about the offseason. And there's a lot of folks in the world that have produced documentaries about themselves. Michael Jordan did it, right? And when MJ did it, it was during the Rona that it got released. And the MJ documentary, The Last Dance. So how many segments of radio did The Last Dance cover for us when it was on during COVID?
That was pretty much wall to wall.
Yeah, a lot. Tom Brady has done a documentary that he produced about himself.
Did you watch that?
I did not.
Yeah, me either.
I think, who was the other one? There's like 2 or 3 more that did this. But Draymond's was interesting. I know a lot of people, Zoe, I very frequently, but very, very, very sarcastically talk about myself in third person on the show. It's ordinarily when I'm either A, being derogatory towards myself, or B, pumping myself up because I nailed something, right? But it's almost always sarcastic. And a lot of people are like, even Lonzo's looked at me before like, are you referring to yourself as your own name? But even I don't think I've got this in me. Draymond produced his own documentary. And in the documentary, which was released earlier this week, they tacked on a segment at the end that went through the ramifications of Jordan Poole getting punched in the face by Draymond. And they went through Draymond's reaction about it. I got 2 clips for you here. The first one, let me do clip. Let me start with 1B. Oh, sorry, 4B. 4B. We start with 4B. This is Draymond Green talking about Draymond Green in a documentary about Draymond Green, produced and directed by Draymond Green. Here is Draymond Green's reflection on Draymond Green's behavior.
I was told the world has been able to see one of your worst moments. Look at all the upsides you have now. And it's a totally different way of looking at it. Like the world has seen one of your worst moments. Look at the upside. And I can live with that.
And then it goes into this super, super dramatic cut about him getting ready for the season and all this. Like, you know, I get, Zoe, I've made mistakes in my life, and, you know, the old man taught me. There's a protocol you follow, you make a mistake, right? Number one, you apologize for it. Number two, you correct it. And number three, you move on from it and you get better and don't make that mistake again. And it's great. That's great. Throughout this entire thing, you know what Draymond never says? I screwed up, my bad.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No. Draymond's like, you know, the world saw me at my worst, and all that means is now I can cut. Like, dude, shut up, bro. Shut up. Knock it off. Are you kidding me?
You were not in the least sympathetic for his plight when he played the music behind it that just made it
so dramatic.
And the hesitations. Bum,
bum, bum, bum. So dramatic.
Yeah, hesitations used to let you know that he's really feeling it. Because, you know, you got to do one of those.
You've got to think about what you are going to say next. Like, Draymond, dude, come on. Let me play the other one for you here. This one is actually my favorite. And I'll explain it a little bit more after I play you the audio of it. But this is my favorite clip from his entire dumbass documentary. Here is Draymond talking about waking up the day after he, you know, MMA punched Jordan Poole in his face.
Woke up to the video. Once I woke up to the video, I don't know if the dynamic necessarily changes or not, because you never really know people's opinions right away. So you get at a time, you know, you give it some time to allow people to throw their opinion out, which quite frankly, I don't care about people's opinion. And to be totally honest with you, I never really knew how much it blew up, because I don't spend much time like searching Instagram or looking through comments. I don't spend much time. I don't really read many tweets at all. And so I was just at home chilling with my children. If you want me to be honest with you, I still don't know how much the world may think it blew up.
I was being a good dad, you guys. I know I punched that man in his face for doing absolutely nothing into me, but I was with my kids.
Come on now. We don't know that he said something, he did something, and he got popped for it. So it's a teachable moment. You're sitting at home with your son. Now, don't let anyone bully you. If someone bullies you, you try
punch him in the face.
You try to walk away from it. You try to you try to be the bigger man, but eventually you're going to have to stand up for yourself. And when you do, I can show you how to do this. If you want to know how to throw a perfect Superman punch, your dad's got you. I can teach you how to do this.
Listen, son, let me have a very important conversation with you. I need to teach you a life lesson here. This is something that I want you to carry with you from now until forever. There's never a time where this advice I'm about to give you won't come in handy. If you are having a dispute with someone, if you have a problem with someone, the best way to handle that is to get into their face. And if they don't immediately back down, plant the right foot and drive hard into that punch. Preferably if you can jump before you punch them in the jaw. Because, you know, if you if you drive off the right leg and get the hips turn and you can turn the shoulder, when that right fist comes across their jaw, if you are, not only do you have all of the momentum you've generated by pushing off the right leg, but if you jump, now the entire mass of your body is delivered through that punch. And if there's ever a point where you have a problem with someone at work, the best way to handle it is a Superman jump punch to the face. Now, let me talk to these documentary cameras over here that are covering me in my struggle while Jordan Poole is at home with a jacked up face. Let me talk to the dot crew that's covering my struggle. Guys, I'm really not a bad guy, because you see what I just did? I just taught my son how to handle workplace conflict. If there's a workplace conflict, my son now knows that the best way to handle it is to Mike Tyson him and try to remove a few teeth from his face.
And then when the camera went off, he said, also, I would like a video compiled to be put in right here. I want you to start out with MMA fighters leading into Roman Reigns, then Superman himself. And then as Superman throws the punch, it becomes me throwing the punch.
Here's the best part about that. I thought you were in on the joke, because while he was saying all that, when he's like, I was just at home playing with my kids, I was just chilling with my kids, the video cuts to the super dramatic slow-mo of like him picking up and kissing his daughter and him rolling on rolling around on the ground with his kids. They're talking about this guy who just committed actual, by definition, assault and battery, right? And he's like, I'm not on social media.
See,
I was with my kids, and it's like rolling around with his kid, and it's like,
you're wrong. You're wrong. That was self-defense. He didn't throw the first punch.
Oh, he did throw the first punch.
Well, he threw, but it was self-defense. And I'm not trying to defend him. I guess I am, but he got shoved first, and then he responded. It isn't like he just walked up and punched him.
As I've said many, many times in the past.
He could have did the shoulder thing afterwards, but no, he got full on shoved like that. He had to respond.
I'm not a fighter. I've never been in a fight in my life. Here's what I will tell you. If you walk up to me and you go nose to nose with me, right? You put your nose in my face. It's right here in me. Dude, I am absolutely shoving you back, right? Absolutely shoving you back. Probably trying to do that thing where you shove and get that leg hooked around the back of there so you knock him down, because I'm not trying to get punched in the face afterwards either. Draymond has the other added aspect of this of he's always been a jackass. This isn't new. This is just the most egregious display of it so far. That's it. That's all. But my man going documentary style, guys, this has been so hard on me. Ever since I punched that guy in the face at work, it's been so hard on me. And I know that I punched a guy in the face at work, but I got kids, man. Look at me with my kids. Here's my kids in slow motion with some super dramatic. Look how good of a dad I am. Forget the fact that I just knocked out a coworker.
You think Steph and the other guys are like, if they get into a little bit of a disagreement, like, we're good, Dre, right? We're good, man. No, you stay right over there. We're good, right?
You think when Steve Kerr benches Draymond, he goes to the other team's bench to do it? I think he's going to walk over behind and be like, hey, Willie Green, will you go take Draymond out for me? Yeah, I know. No. I know you're coaching the other team, but will you go take Dre out for me? I don't want to. No reason. I love the idea of every time I make a mistake, throwing up a whole ass documentary about how, but guys, I have a dog and I'm a really good, I know I just stole $100,000 from you, but here, oh, wait. Not just I have a dog. Here's me petting my dog in slow motion.
As long as it's not a cat, because if you're petting a cat after stealing money, you're a Bond villain.
Dun, 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 dun. Texter says, Rob, this is straight up cringe. No, I know. I felt like I was watching an episode of The Office yesterday. That is some Dwight Schrute caliber stuff.
Does this make you want to watch the entire documentary?
Yes. Yes, it absolutely. I mean, I guess he got his point. Like, I guess he got what he wanted, because now I'm like, let's see how stupid the rest of this is, right? It ends like the documentary hits this crescendo with this like dramatic music in the background, and it goes from the punch in towards and in towards like ring night, right? It goes in towards ring night, and it goes towards the start of the season, and it like ends with, for Draymond, perhaps this impending ring night will carry extra significance as the one that conceivably almost got away. That's an actual line from the documentary. What?
Almost got away.
What the hell are you talking about?
All right.
I'm gonna write I want to write a documentary about me. Rob Brown is 6'7", 225 pounds of lean steel and sex appeal. Dramatic music swells in the background.
Why 6'7"? I mean,
apparently we can just say whatever the hell we want about ourselves.
Okay, but I mean, why would you project yourself as 6'7"? That's a little tall. I mean,
why not?
I mean, for what
Draymond just projected himself as a good teammate because he's got kids.
6'4" is easier to rhyme with. I'm just saying.
It's so dumb, dude. Like, I know most of you guys don't care about this, but I watched these clips this morning and I was like, what?
See, all that being said, man, that was a good punch. I mean, all this being said, that was straight up one of the best punches.
It is, and
I mean,
also don't punch your coworkers.
But if you're going to,
then make a whole ass documentary about it, talking about how good of a dad you are after.
Right, because that takes care of it.
Golly. God. I like watched through this and I'm like, what is this, Draymond? What is this? I can only go up from here. Yeah, you should have been in jail, dude. You should have been in prison. All right, I gotta get away from this.
I just clothesline T2 in the hallway, but I volunteer, at the local Y.
Yeah. Live on Facebook, I just put a knee into the groin of Captain America Chris Evans down the hall, but I do have a dog at home, everybody.
What? So you don't get the sweet bass beats, you get jazz? What kind of budget does this documentary have?
Oh my Lord. Draymond. Imagine the absolute separation from reality that you must have to hit that spot. It's unreal. All right, let's take a break. Keegan said, I can't believe he got a documentary interview for punching someone in the face while Troy Aikman got crucified for saying, take the dresses off and play football. Keegan, he got a documentary interview because he made the documentary about himself.
Yeah, Troy could afford it. He should make his own.
Yeah. They tried to make his own documentary about it. It was just so trying for me. After I punched that guy in the face, my life got so much more difficult.
Troy can show he and Joe Buck at the local soup kitchen volunteering. So it's okay.
Like, my favorite part is Draymond didn't even do anything. He's just like, I got kids. Yeah, I know a lot of terrible, dumb people. Having kids is easy. In fact, it's fun for most people. That's not impressive, Draymond. Hanging out with your kids is not a get out of jail, literally free card. You dope. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show with the Fan Upstate.
Warehouse.
All right, guys, got to read. Be right All right, we're back, dudes and dudettes. Where my bots at?
But if you think about it, so all those were impressions or whatever they're called. It isn't like we looked and saw 10,000 people watching.
No, it was views. It was overall views, which just means somebody came across it, which means we probably got put into some algorithm that went onto a big page.
I still think it may have something to do with 2400 Sports, that maybe they pushed the show trying to get people to look at the podcast. Or it's all a work and it's all about stinking AI teasing. I prefer to have real people anyway. That's just me. Humans. Yeah.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is tremendous, as always, to be with you, Rob Brown, and the great one, Lonzo, with you today. There's not many times we've been able to say this throughout history, but today is one of those days. Man, Nick Saban is not handling his business the right way right now. If you have not seen it yet, there is a video after the Alabama-Tennessee game. Now, let me prelude this by saying, if you run onto a football field, you take all the risks that come along with football, right? Like, you have to understand, if you run onto football fields where there are football players that are playing or have been playing football or will be playing football, you take all the risk of a football player. You take all the risk that something might go wrong, right? Let's start with that, because I think that is fair. But after the Tennessee game, wide receiver Jermaine Burton, who was not happy with Bama's loss to Tennessee, was accused of smacking a Tennessee student in the head as she ran onto the football field, right? And the video posted by a young lady on TikTok who goes by Emily Isaacs, she posted a video. Now, the video comes from a distance. It is from up in the stands still. But the video it's a slowed down video, but it very much does appear to support her claim that Jermaine Burton kind of popped her in the head as she ran by him. Now, she actually, as she's running onto the field, sees Jermaine Burton moving towards her and kind of sidesteps out of the way of him, right? Now, again, you're on the field, you kind of take risk, but there is a difference between you take the risk that a football player trying to make his way to the tunnel, as I absolutely would have been if I was a Bama player at that point, doesn't see you or, kind of has to juke around the band member or whatever and pops you. Jermaine Burton very clearly, after this lady sidesteps to her left to get out of his way, pops her in the dome. I mean, the video shows it, right? Video shows it. Saban was asked about this, and in a statement he released, he said, quote, "We are aware of the situation with Jermaine Burton as he was exiting the field Saturday. We are currently working to gather more information." But he also, on the SEC teleconference, when asked about it a second time, said, "We certainly don't condone any mistreatment of anybody, whether they should or shouldn't be on the field. I think you've got to have respect for other people, but at the same time, it's a difficult situation for all of us." Now, again, I'm not disagreeing. When you've got up to 110 some odd thousand people at Neyland Stadium, and half of them seem to swarm the field immediately, If you're a Bama player, you are trying to get off that grass ASAP. You are trying to get to the locker room before it gets too chaotic. And the risk is there, and I think understood, or at least it should have been, by every Tennessee fan, that if you're going to go out on the field with football players, you might get, footballed. You might get popped. You might get some shoulder pads to the dome or something. But there's a difference between that and straight up slapping a woman in the head because you're upset about the L of a football game, right? Kind of like Draymond. Dude, if you're going to go nose to nose with a guy, you got to understand he's going to shove you. It doesn't give you the clearance to UFC him with a Superman punch into the cage. Yes, the Tennessee students should not have been out there. No, they should not have been anywhere near Alabama players. No, they should have not been in a position where they could interact with Alabama football players. But you still can't pop a lady in the head for it. And the fact that with the video evidence right in front of them, Nick Saban is still doing a soft defense of the moment. Well, when people come out onto the field, anything can happen. Yeah. But you got to understand there's a difference, right? You got to understand there's a difference. Just like there is a difference between Jordan Poole shoving Draymond and Draymond punching Jordan Poole in his chin. There's a big difference between the two. Jordan's reaction was appropriate. Draymond's was not.
No. Come on, man. Jordan's Poole's. No, that was not appropriate. He was the aggressor in that whole thing, and Draymond Green defended himself. Now, if he would have just shoved back, this would have
seen the video?
Yes, I have. I showed you the video. But Jordan Poole shoved him first.
Yes, when Draymond went
that
nose to nose.
By the way, but that makes you an aggressor. That makes you the aggressor.
The person who puts
those parties are equally guilty.
Disagree entirely.
But as far as the fan and the player on the field, that's totally different. But this, if someone shoves you, you can right away go to the police and say that battery without a doubt.
If you put your face into another human being's face and get shoved, 100% chance nobody's getting discharged there. Nobody's doing it. If you walk if I came around that desk,
all right,
now,
I'm not going to shove you. I'm going to tell you the mistake you're about to make, and then you're going to back down and walk back to the other side.
And if I don't,
enjoy my wonderful breath.
Either way.
I am not going to shove you if you come around here.
Texter says, but does Jermaine Burton have kids?
He might. He could.
If so, just take some slow-mo video of him and all is forgiven, right, Draymond? Unreal.
I still can't believe you don't think Poole's at fault for shoving. That's ridiculous.
You put your face into another dude's face, you're getting shoved. That's clearing the area.
From playground to adulthood, if you shove someone, you're inviting to be punched. That's what you're doing. You're saying, hey, it's on because he put hands on him first.
I'm going to say that going nose to nose with another dude is the equivalent of putting hands on.
No,
it's the equivalent of putting hands on.
It's not.
All right, we'll come back to that later. The point is, Nick Saban is sitting here running soft defense for Jermaine Burton, but he's got a player on his team. And listen, Nick Saban's always had a team that has been known for its discipline, a team that has been known for being really, really, really well put together, for not losing its cool under pressure, for not losing their head when things aren't going the right way. And this is not a reflection on the entire Alabama team at all. It is not a reflection on this team. But Nick Saban running defense for this guy is. Nick Saban running defense for this cat is.
Is she pressing charges?
I have no idea. All she's done so far is post the video. What comes next, I don't know.
Would you press charges?
Me personally, nah. I ran onto the field. I know that's a risk. It's not like now, if he Draymond me, sure. Yeah, absolutely. If he came and punched me in the jaw, yeah. He just kind of like in the head, right? He's kind of popped her in the head. And in fairness, she was on his field. She was in his way. She did get out of the way, but she did get in his way. So it's like, it was a bad reaction, dude. But like Nick running defense for this guy is not a great look. Because you can't have that. Can't have that. All right, let's take a break. No Rashad Beard today. Rashad is busy filming the next episode of the Panther Nation podcast, and apparently some cat named Steve Smith was more important to do an interview with than us.
We got big time.
We got big time.
We got big time. That hurts. It really does.
We did. We got big time.
It hurts.
So anyway, Rashad will join us tomorrow for our weekly Panther spot. When we come back here in just a minute, we've got a lot more to get into. Dan Snyder has now fired back at Jim Irsay. A lot of people are like, why would Jim Irsay be the one that came after Dan Snyder? Irsay's got his own problems, right? I don't really care about what Irsay's done. I care about what Snyder's done. So I am Team Irsay. But what did Dan Snyder say back about Jim Irsay? I'll tell you that coming up. On the Sports Illustrated College Football Podcast, Pete Ford, Dan Wenzel, and Ross Dellinger. Forty told a story about an AD claiming that another team's NIL collective offered one of his players $1 million to transfer schools. I am going to call somebody a liar in that segment. And I'll tell you why. That's all and more coming up on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
I was going to say, I thought I turned it. It's cooler in here.
It was about halfway still.
Okay. So it must have been all the way the other way. Because I did that when I got up and walked around there. That's what I did. I just didn't turn it all the way, I guess. All right. So this ain't a radio thing. If someone shoves you, you're asking to be punched. If you shove someone, that means you're saying, hey, I am prepared to fight you. Let's do this. So pull is just as much, I mean, he technically instigated it. Yes, I will be there at the 6:30 showing tonight in IMAX. Wave to me if you see me. Black Adam.
Oh, Black Adam. I made a crucial mistake today. It was 32 degrees when I left my house this morning. And I decided to wear a hoodie, except for I wore the hoodie as a shirt. I have an undershirt on under it, which means I can't remove the hoodie. And it's going to take probably
Florida guys
2
don't,
hours and 17 minutes.
Florida guys don't understand about layering. Although, as a hipster, you think you would understand about layering because hipsters always wear that extra flannel over the thingy. And I'm guessing probably an undershirt too. I don't want to know for sure, but I'm just guessing. With this room, it's starting to cool down already. You'll be all right. And our office is fine. If you want to go shirts and skins, go for it.
I don't.
I mean,
More
you know,
importantly,
I
don't.
don't have to look over there. I'm all about turning the other cheek. I do get that. But if someone, like I said, you weren't in the room, if someone shoves you, what they're saying is, I'm prepared to go right now. This fight is on. If not, you stand there, you go nose to nose and wait for someone to back out, wait for someone to come and separate you, which should happen if you have good teammates, but they don't. So they just watch, waiting for the ensuing melee. But yeah, if you shove me, what you're saying to me is you're prepared to fight.
If you put your nose on my nose, that's what you're saying. Nobody goes nose to nose to go, I hope you have a very pleasant day today.
If I
hope that you find a great deal on candy that makes you happy this afternoon. Nobody's ever gone
if I
nose to
didn't-
nose with
if I
any
didn't-
intention other than to go.
If I didn't dislike touching my fellow employee, I'd be doing that to you all day.
You would get pushed. I'm telling you in advance.
And you pushing me would tell me that you're ready to go. By the way,
fight starts.
Draymond was way over on the side of the court. Poole was talking stuff to the point where he drew Draymond over there. So he started Dale.
You have
He
no
started.
idea who said what. You have no idea who said
We don't
what.
know what was said, but
Right.
they were talking junk.
So
you don't
based
want
on video evidence, Draymond went face to face with Jordan. Draymond, known hothead and guy that's willing to go at the
Right,
drop of a
which is
hat.
why Poole should have let it go. Whatever it was, he should have let it go.
Of all the things that we have had conflict over, this is the most shocking one to me. Sincerely, this
Let
is
me
the most
just
shocking
let me
one.
just point out that you've never been in a fight, and I have.
Correct.
And fights usually start when someone shoves someone first. Until then, no matter how close your faces are, you just talking.
Dude, if I put my nose on your nose, one of two things has happened. I'm either about to kiss you or you're getting shoved.
You're not getting that close to me because I'm just not allowing
why.
it. Because I don't like people. We
Right.
already know
and
this.
If I get that close to you, what's going to happen? You're going to push me out of your personal bubble, or you're going to turn and walk away. But let's be real.
I think it
on a
depends.
basketball
I think it
floor-
depends on who it is. If it's you, I don't care.
Also, there is room.
I don't care.
Right.
If someone from another show gets up on me like that, that's different.
And you're
That's
going
different.
to
I am
clear
I
your
am
space.
going to go to
Clear your-
management and
No,
point out
No, you're-
that, as far as I'm concerned, that 6 feet social distancing was a wonderful thing. Steven gets it. A shove is the shove was the aggressor. He absolutely was. You're just a nonviolent guy. Well,
I am. That is correct.
I am the opposite of that.
But if you get in my spot. All right, I'm going to literally ask you guys to be, what was that guy's, what was the old boxing referee's name? Miles Lane?
It's Mills Lane.
Mills Lane.
By the way,
it.
it's also Ursay, not
Let's get it on.
Irsay. It's Ursay. I meant to
I
tell
said
you
it
that.
both ways because
Yeah, I know. It's just kind of. I took it as an alarm thing. So
let's get it on. I want a good, clean fight. Keep it. All right. Here's my question. Lonzo, of the things that Lonzo and I have had conflict about, right? Have had a debate, a disagreement over. This shoving thing is genuinely the most surprising to me. It has, I'm not kidding. I am taken aback. I would have thought that Lonzo was on my side on this. So,
I'm getting adrenaline going right now. Don't shove me. Do not shove me. If you shove me, you're asking me to punch you. That's what you're doing.
all right. So, and this is the only segment we're going to spend on it, right? Only segment we're going to spend on it, but I do want y'all's thoughts, especially those of you that have thrown hands a time or seven in your life. All right. Where does the fight, where is it on? All right. In this sequence of events, where is it on? All right. Is it on when guy A says to guy B, your dog's ugly, your mama smells funny? Is it on now? Is it on when guy B gets up into guy's A's face and goes nose to nose with him and says, I don't want another word? Is it on when guy A pushes guy B out of his space and is like, get up out of my face, dog? You don't want the smoke? Or is it on when guy B throws the punch? Like in that scenario, and we're working on the assumption here for the sake of this conversation. And I think this tilts the conversation Lonzo's way, right? But if Jordan Poole was indeed talking smack to Draymond, and like I pointed out to Lonzo, we don't know who said what. Draymond could have been talking something to Jordan and Jordan answered and it ticked Draymond off. Jordan could have started it. We don't know. What we know in the video is Draymond walks up to Jordan Poole and gets in his face. Jordan Poole shoves Draymond, and then Draymond comes back with the Superman punch across the chin. In my opinion, in that fight. And the reason that Draymond is producing his own documentary to try to make himself look like a victim here is because Draymond was the aggressor. Draymond was in the wrong. If I put my face in your face, there are one of two things that's about to happen. I'm about to either kiss you on the lips or punch you in the face. One or the other. That's the only two reasons to go face to face with another dude. You're going to kiss him or you're ready to scrap. And if you go face to face with me, I am going to work under the assumption that this dude's ready to go. And I'm not about to let him get the first shot.
Let me give you a different perspective. Okay. If you are a middle school to high school principal, two guys go nose to nose, no one gets suspended. Someone shoves the other guy without retaliation. The guy who shoves the guy gets suspended because he put hands on the other guy. So if the other guy never responds, he doesn't get in trouble. But if he punches back, he gets suspended also. When you throw hands, whether it's by shoving or
high schools kick everybody out. Talk to me like it's a real life encounter. Talk to me like it's
all right.
at work.
I am talking to you about before the whole zero tolerance thing. And fights still happen, and people don't get
around before that.
Yeah, yes, you were. You were around before. You were in high school before zero tolerance.
No, I was not.
Okay, so maybe it's a 1%er thing. It comes down to, in my neighborhood, Rob, whether you're adult or like 5 years old, you shove someone, it's time to throw down.
And again, I'd ask the question, and I guess because I've only been in the scenario like one time in my life, if somebody puts their face in your face, like, are you?
Listen, if
I tell on you, like, no, you're clearing your bubble, you're defending your bubble.
My mom would ask me, what did they do? And if I told her that they shoved me, I didn't get in trouble because I was not the aggressor, the other guy was.
All right, so I'm asking you guys this question. Knowing what we know, and only what we know about the Jordan Poole Draymond situation, who's at fault here? Is it Draymond for getting in Jordan's face? Is it Jordan for pushing Draymond? Or is it Draymond for laying out Jordan Poole with the Superman punch? In your opinion, in that video that's gone around, who's in the wrong? In my opinion, it's Draymond Green. When you put your face into another man's face, that is the equivalent of a shove to me. It's the same thing. Putting my face in, nobody has ever put their face in somebody else's face and been like, I hope you have a very pleasant day today. I hope you have a nice day.
That's false. UFC face-offs all the time. Guys say nice things to each other.
What do they do?
If someone shoves the other person, a bunch of people jump in because the fight's about to happen. The face-off is never anything but a face-off.
Right. A scheduled face-off for two guys who know they are about to hit each other. All right. Who's on the? Jacob says Devin Booker's in the wrong, suspend him. Devin Booker v. Luka Doncic. I don't know if you got to see any of that game last night. Every time Luka knocked down a shot around D-Book, he laughed in his face. It is the best rivalry in the NBA. Best rivalry hands down in the NBA right now. Better than Jordan and Draymond or Draymond versus documentary crews. Let's take a break. We're back after this for hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Jello wrestling. Again, Keegan, no.
What kind of Jello? I think that's important. I mean,
I don't. I think it's a no matter what your end game is here.
Strawberry Jello, probably not, because I think that would break my skin out. Grape jelly, though, or Jello. I'm good with that. Maybe a nice watermelon Jello. I don't know, lemon lime still citrusy. I have trouble with the citrus. And plus, you're going to smell like the Jello for a while. And if you're Rob and you're tapping out, there's a good shot that maybe you're in the Jello, like, you know, face first.
You know what the worst part about having never been in a fight is? The worst thing about having never been in a fight.
Jello wrestling's not fighting though; it's just wrestling.
No, in general, the worst thing about having never been in a fight is, despite the fact that I have, as I may have mentioned once or three times on this show, despite the fact that I have like taken boxing lessons from the greatest boxer of all time, pound for pound,
Roy Jones
name drop,
Jr.,
my personal trainer, Roy Jones Jr. Like, I've taken the boxing lessons. The worst part is I do not know how I would perform in a fight, right? Like, I don't know how I would.
I tell you what, if you decide you're going to box, you're going to get your butt whipped. Because as we've discussed before, there is no such thing as a fair fight, especially as you get older. It's about picking anything up that you can find and stopping that person from trying to hurt you.
But I think it's less about like I would want to box and more about like, if I can get a punch in, I know the way to throw the best possible punch, like the strongest possible punch. The worst part about having never gotten into a fight is that I don't know how I would perform in a fight, right? I don't know how I would handle it. I do know.
Would you keep your head? Would you let anger cloud your judgment? I mean, there are a lot of things.
I mean, I would like to think that the fact that I have never been in a fight, despite having many opportunities to, is proof that I'm able to keep my cool under pressure.
Fights before wrestling was a problem for me. Fights after wrestling, no longer, because wrestling teaches you to think 2 to 3 moves ahead. Same thing with a fight. If this guy does this, I'm going to do this. I mean, if your brain's working, and actually I think clearer when I'm angry, so it works to my advantage. But if you've never really been in something, you don't know how you're going to react.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, having never been swung at, or at least never been swung at with something like a punch that was an actual threat, as opposed to a drunk guy just being drunk guy. I don't know how I would respond to an actual fight. So then when people like Lonzo say, when Rob taps out, as if it is an inevitability, I'm like, would it be though?
If you go into a fight thinking you're not going to win, you might not win. It's like anything. I want to win at everything. I plan on winning. If I have to fight, I'm going to win. If I don't, it's because I've probably been knocked out or I'm dead.
Because getting into death match.
No, because I'm too old. I mean, if someone wants to fight me, chances are I'm out on the street somewhere and someone snuck me. There you go, Roger. Cameron and I were just talking about this yesterday, how he got surrounded by some guys at high school and had to, he talked his way out of it by threatening everybody.
I will take you all down.
Yes. And he said, all right, who's first? And it's a good story. Something I didn't find out till, like recently, because he never told me. Whereas I knew I always had if there were multiple people about to jump me, I always kind of had a sense of it. And believe it or not, I used to be fast.
How often did you get jumped?
You think I'm joking about a bad neighborhood?
No, I know you're from a bad neighborhood, but
yeah, it was
still like
it was
a lot.
Some people didn't make it out of that neighborhood. I got some stories, and they're not stories. They're
nightmares, horror tales,
survival tales. Harley in the first break.
Lonzo's is instead of Tales from the Crypt, it's Tales from the Hood.
I'm not like this because I want to be. There's a lot of reasons.
Texter says, fan. Let's see. If Jordan Poole had walked up to Draymond and shoved him, it would be Poole. But Draymond is the initiator when he walked up to Poole and severely disrespected his personal space. In my opinion, Jordan Poole had every right to remove him from his personal space, and he did not do that very aggressively. Draymond was already looking to punch him and made it happen. Also, COVID, 6 feet, Draymond.
All I can say to that texter is, man, you got fast thumbs or something.
Well, he's been crafting it. He's had like 10 minutes.
Okay. I mean, that's some long word. That's well done.
Rob.
You're wrong, by the way, but still, I mean,
Rob, Draymond was at fault. He aggressively walked up on Poole and invaded his personal space. To me, Poole was trying to get him out of his space. As a veteran on that team, you need to set a better example. And this is from a hardcore Warriors fan. They walk amongst us, people. There are Dubs fans in the hood. I like it. Appreciate those texts. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys very much. The phone lines are open at 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-FAN-FONE, 844-326-3663. You can also shoot us a text on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. If you do text us at 71307, start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. Texter says, fight is on with the first punch. If you make physical contact, you better be ready to defend yourself. Some tough guys will say they would throw down over insults, but a smart man avoids the fight unless it is necessary.
absolutely. That's what I'm not going to, if you get up nose to nose with me, I'm going to do everything I can to not fight because I don't want to fight.
Texter says it is on when whoever touches the other person. See, that's me too. It's on at contact.
The shove was the contact.
No,
the shove is the
Draymond
contact.
going chest to chest, toe to toe is contact. He touched him. He chest bumped him and went nose to nose. That's contact. That's first contact. That's go time. That's on Draymond. All right.
So if I bump into you in the hallway accidentally, I've made first contact.
You know the difference of a context of a situation. You know the difference there. Now, if you and I are having at it all day and then I walk out to the parking lot and you're waiting for me in your denim vest and black jeans next to your sweet T-Bird, and then you walk up and bump me, yeah, now I know it's go.
Do I have my sunglasses on or off?
They're on, but they're up on top of your head holding your hair back because you don't want it whipping down in your face during the fight.
There we go.
Yeah,
okay.
For sure. Little Def Leppard coming over the speakers to provide the background noise, you know?
Hopefully, like Billy's Got a Gun or something like that. Going really old school with the Def Leppard there.
All right, let's get a couple of other stories in here. Let me grab, Zoe, if you don't mind, the clip from the 40 Wetzel and Dellinger podcast. This is from the Sports Illustrated podcast that was put up on SI yesterday. This is Wetzel, 40, and Dellinger. And they are talking about a conversation that I believe 40 had with the Utah athletic director. Kyle Whittingham clued into some folks that he was a little frustrated with the direction of NIL, right? And they give it a little context saying that they kind of feel like they're in a tough spot because, you know, it used to be that if you wanted to recruit, you outworked the other schools to convince them that they wanted to be a part of your program. The reality is you still got to do that. It's just now there's one more factor involved, right? Well, the Utah athletic director apparently has made the claim. Well, I'll let you listen to the claim. Here is here's a quick snippet from the segment that they did on a story told by the Utah AD.
Harlan told me, quote, we had a player who was offered, I believe, about $1 million to pull him over to another team by a collective. I called that AD and had a discussion, right? And he's frustrated. Everybody's frustrated because this was a friend. It was a friendly call. It was just to say, listen, it happened. My colleague was embarrassed is not the right word, but he was frustrated. So it was interesting to me. He did not name the school. He did not name the player, but that an AD would talk publicly about this. Yeah, this is the way of the world now. We've got this collective out here that's tied to this school, just tampering, going and saying, we want your player, we want this guy, and we're willing to pay him this amount of money. And then apparently the player went to the school and said, hey, I'm being that people are attempting to buy me. If you can figure, if it's $1 million, it's probably a quarterback. Although there's some other NFL caliber players on the Utah roster. But if that's the way of the world, that's the kind of thing that drives coaches crazy. Is like, don't come buy my player off my campus.
I absolutely understand how that would be frustrating, right? And that is why I've said how many times, welcome to college athletics in 2022. It used to be that you could work your butt off to convince, you know what I compared it to? You could work your butt off to get a guy to come to campus. The difference now is that you have to work your butt off to get a guy to come to campus, and then you got to work your butt off to get him to stay on campus, right? How many stories have we heard from kids in days gone by that were like, you know, I went to this school and I felt it was the right school. And then once I got to that school, I recognized I was just a cog in the wheel, right? Like I was just a cog in the wheel. I was just part of whatever. Like I didn't feel like I belonged there. I didn't feel like it was for me. I felt like I made the wrong choice. I've talked to college athletes myself who told me that after their recruitment, they felt like they got sold a false bill of goods, right? Oh, if you come here, it's going to be amazing. Rainbows and unicorns and lollipops and puppies everywhere. It's going to be so great. And then they get there and they're like, all right, sucker, we got you. You can't go nowhere. You're locked in. Hit the practice sled, dummy, right? Now you have to work as hard as you do to get them on campus, to stay on campus. But I don't believe that this happened, right? I don't believe that this happened. I think there are going to be a lot of people who use, oh, they bought so-and-so from us as an excuse for the reason that they couldn't keep a kid, right? Is it easier to say, you know, they got here and they just didn't like what we're building, right? They didn't want to be here, and put it on yourself a little bit, or to go, oh, somebody bought him, right? And here's why. The Utah ID is making a claim that another collective offered a kid $1 million to transfer schools. And by the way, that would be tampering. That would be against NIL rules. So this AD is saying that he has at least some level of evidence, along with a player who is at least willing to tell the story once, right? And you're not going to name him? You're not going to say what school did it? You could bring the hammer down, and you're not going to do it? There's one of three things that is happening here. Number one, you're protecting one of your AD buddies because their school did this, and you're like, it was an off-campus collective. I don't want to bring down my friend, my AD buddy, my colleague here. In which case, well, then I don't care. If your friendship with that guy is more important than the NCAA rules, then what do you want me to feel sorry for you? I don't feel sympathy for you. Number two is it did happen, but not the way this guy's telling it. He spiced it up for drama, right? Or number three is it didn't really happen. But if you are going to go front page and tell one of the largest college football podcasters in America that another team's NIL collective offered one of your stars $1 million to transfer schools, and you're not willing to name the school, the collective, or the player, then I don't believe you. I don't care. It might have happened, sure. But if you're not willing to say who done it, when they done it, why they done it, and who they done it to, then your story is irrelevant. It has no point. Oh, this terrible thing happened. All right, when? I don't want to tell you. Where? I don't want to tell you. Who did it? I don't want to tell you. Who they do to? I don't want to tell you. Then why do I care?
Okay, so I'm a little confused. So technically, this is a source, and a source, so they're protecting their source. Why is it not okay for them to protect their source? And as far as this goes, this has been my problem. You know, this has been my problem from the beginning. My concern about what NIL is going to do, that you can buy a player and bring them somewhere else. And the team supposedly not being involved, that's just, I've never believed that for a second. Teams are involved for sure. But why is it okay for some people to protect the source, and this guy, it's not okay for him to protect his source?
Because when people protect sources in journalism, I also expect them to put something on the table to corroborate that story, right? If you say a source told me that blank, all right, fine. But like, what else you got, amigo? Like, what else do you have to that story? They told me that the local, I don't know, the local trash collection was going through trash cans and pulling out people's personal identifications. That's a weird metaphor to come up with, weird analogy, but whatever. Like, okay, a person told you that.
Sanitation expert.
There you go. A local source said that the local sanitation experts were pulling people's credit card bills out of their trash cans, out of their trash bags. Like, all right, but like, do you have anything else besides that, right? Do you have anything besides that? This is not a journalist protecting a source. This is an athletic director making a claim, which is fine. Making a claim, but then saying nothing. You know what this is more, if you wanted a more direct analogy, a more analogous situation, this would be like if Rob Brown, noted journalist, was sitting in the newsroom and the phone rings and I go, Rob Brown, Channel 3 News. Because that's my news voice. Rob Brown, Channel 3 News.
So that's like 4 now. Okay. I'm keeping track. Sybil.
And it's a good reference. I answer the phone and I go, Rob Brown, Channel 3 News. And they go, yes. I have it on local authority. I have it on good authority that the mayor of the town stole money from an old widowed lady. And it's like, oh, really? Really? What lady? Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that. How much money? I'm not going to tell you that. When did it happen? I'm not going to tell you that. Where did it happen? I'm not going to tell you that. Do you know what I do with that phone call? Ma'am, thank you for your time. Please call me back when you have further details. Click. There's nothing here, right? It's a massive claim of something that I absolutely, if it's true, have a problem with. If it's true. But if you, who very clearly, according to your anecdote, have information, you know who the player is, you know who the school is, you know who the collective is. If you are unwilling to provide any further details for us to look into, then your story is pointless. I am even willing to go so far as to say, I think he might be lying, right? Like I mentioned, so let me give you one more. You guys know I love me a good analogy. Let me give you another analogy. A long time ago, I dated a girl down in Destin. Dated this girl and she was fabulous, right? Really pretty, smart, fun, independent, did her own thing. She was great. And we dated for a while. And then she had to move back to Jacksonville because that's where the father of her child lived. And so it was just easier. Instead of driving back and forth every single weekend, she had to move back to Jacksonville. And then she talked me into moving to Jacksonville, right? And I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, I'll go to Jacksonville. I've never been there. She talked to, oh, Jacksonville's great. You're going to love it. We got Jack's Beach and downtown and the Jags, and it's just great. You're going to love Jacksonville. I'm like, all right, word, I'll go. And then I got to Jacksonville, and everything sucked. I moved in with her. All of a sudden, she didn't cook anymore. She didn't clean anymore. And that's not saying women cook and clean. I'm just saying in our relationship, when we spent time together in my house, we both did things equally. I cook, I clean, she cook, she clean. We had the old I cook, you clean the dishes, you cook, I clean the dishes deal. Got there, not anymore. Rob cooked, then Rob cleaned. Rob watched her kid while I was an absolute loser, you guys. But I got sold a false bill of goods. And when I got to Jacksonville, I was like, she recruited great. She recruited great. But then when I got on campus, I was like, this is everything sucks, and this is not what I signed up for. And I split, right? Took me a little while, but I split. I put my boat back at a U-Haul. I moved back to Pensacola, and I started working on getting this gig, right? But then what happened? What did I find out after that? You know what happened after we split? She started telling everybody Rob was a jerk. Rob was inattentive. Rob didn't pay attention to me. Rob didn't give me the stuff that I needed to have a good relationship. No, you're lying. That's not what happened. Right? That's not what happened. She couldn't corroborate with anything, and the people that matter most to me were like, yeah, no, we don't believe any of that. You've got nothing, right? That's how I feel about this story. It's exactly how I feel about this story. The 80s, like, hey, this kid was going to get $1 million to go to that other school. What school? I'm not going to tell you. Oh, what kid? I'm not going to tell you. Oh. What was the name of the collective that offered the money? Oh, I'm not going to tell you. Oh, when did this happen? Oh, I'm not going to tell you. Oh, well, then your story is worthless. And not only is your story worthless, but I'm pretty comfortable saying you might be lying. You might be lying. You might be trying to make yourself look better because Rob Brown left your Jacksonville and everybody looked and went, what did you do? And you're like, I better put blame somewhere else because I can't handle it. I can't take the blame. It makes me look bad. I better put it somewhere else. I know what I'll do. I'll just make up a bunch of stories without any details in them, without any proof, without anything more than anecdotal evidence. They went on this podcast for like 7 minutes about the story. Can you believe this? I'm like, no, I can't. I not only can I not, I actively do not believe it. There is nothing here except I believe it could be true. All right. Do I believe it? Let's be very clear. Zoe, do I believe this story could be true? Hell yeah. Of course this story could be true. Absolutely it could be true. And I wouldn't be shocked to find out that it has happened in the past. But if you don't put anything on the table other than anecdotal evidence, and by the way, not even that much of it, just this happened. When?
I bet I believe it's true more than you do because you don't want to believe it's true.
It's not that I don't want to, it's I have no reason to. My beliefs are not based on what I want to be true. My beliefs are not based on what I hope is true. My hopes are based on what I hope is true. But my beliefs, I don't put it this way. You don't actively choose to believe something, right? You don't actively, your beliefs, every belief you have, every single belief you have is shaped by something external. Every belief you have, religious beliefs, political beliefs, financial beliefs, professional beliefs, personal beliefs, every belief you have is shaped by external factors, right? Every single one of them. They may not be good external factors, right? You may have your belief shaped by something externally. That is not a good reason to shape your belief, but it still did shape your belief, right or wrong. I don't want this to be true or want this to not be true. If it is true, I want to know that it is. I've told you guys, my philosophy on life is I want to believe as many true things and not believe as many false things as possible. If it's true, I want to know it's true. Why? Because the only way to fix something, is to know what's wrong with it. The only way to get better. This is like Zoe and I's biggest philosophical difference on the Views from Mint Street podcast. Zoe gets mad when Carolina wins a game. Won a game. And I came on the next day and I'm like, here's all the things that went wrong. So I was like, why can't we spend a day celebrating? Because celebrating what's right, you don't get better from that. You get better by talking about acknowledging and fixing what's wrong. That's how you get better. If this is true, I want to know for a fact that it's true so that the next round of steps can be taken to fix the problem. But when a dude says something bad happened, but won't tell you who, what, where, when, or why, then there is no reason to waste our breath, he said after talking about it for 14 minutes. There's no reason for there are people out there right now who listen to that podcast and are like, see, I told you, NIL's the devil. NAL's the worst. It's like, dude, you've got nothing. You've got one AD who may or may not have lost the player. We don't know because he won't tell us who the player is. Who may or may not have lost the player to another school. We don't know because he won't tell us who the school is. Because another collective may or may not have offered him money. We don't know because he won't name the collective. We have nothing. This is the exact type of strategy that you would employ if you wanted to get rid of NIL but don't have a good argument to do so. You just make something up. You just give an anecdotal reason why something is bad. Oh, yeah, it hurt me this way. Really? Hurt you how? Don't worry about it. It hurt what player? Don't worry about it. What school hurt you? Don't worry about it. Exactly the type of strategy you would take if you had nothing. You just didn't like NIL. That's what this is. Immediately dismissed unless you put something on the table. Name me the school, name me the AD, name me the collective, name me the player, name me the position. Put a receipt on the table, then we'll talk about it. But until then, I got a blank table with nothing on it except you on the other side going, this is bad. All right, prove it. Prove it's bad. And then I'm all in. Let's take a break. The great one is on the other side of the metaphorical glass today. My name is Rob Brown. Join us on the Facebook stream. We are live streaming every show, every day. I believe the only sports show in the upstate that does that. You can find the stream by going to facebook.com/thefanupstate, twitter.com/thefanupstate, or by searching and subscribing to the Rob Brown Show on YouTube or on Twitch. We'd love to have you join the chat. Get at us, y'all. Rob Lonzo and you. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. All right, stream got to do a read. Be right back. All right, we back.
Frisbee is funny because he doesn't know how true that really is. What he was. I don't know if you saw.
Twitter.
I don't know if you're on it or not. It might just be me.
I think every week is different based off who you're playing and what they've shown you on tape. So we're going to take advantage of every opportunity.
Yeah, you're on it.
To be able to push the ball down the field, we'll take advantage of every opportunity, every look that we have.
With the trade of Robbie Anderson on Monday, Coach Wilkes on wide receiver.
We'll wait and see how practice goes this week. Chenault's coming back, so I'm excited about him. Getting back to work this week.
Also, the blame when things don't work.
Doing a great job. And then also Terrence Marshall. So we'll see exactly how things pan out.
And Coach Wilkes on the balancing act of trying to get all the receivers the number of receptions they would like to have in a game.
I think what you have to do, in my opinion, you have to really show them the bigger picture. And yes,
Maybe they called Tim in to
I love
fix
my
it.
touches. We want them to have their touches. They're great football players, and they're going to go out and make plays. But we also got to understand that we got to spread it out throughout. We got to just
I hate when something doesn't work.
just really try to get them
I know it's not my fault, but
and understand that it's not about the individual, it's about us.
UK's Liz Truss steps down as prime minister after 44 days in office.
saw that.
If you have never watched it, you should watch a session of British Parliament.
I've seen bits and pieces.
It's amazing. They just heckle the crap out of each other while they're doing business. It's hysterical. Like, I am pretty sure that you could get voted into British Parliament. You could become a PM just by being the biggest smartass in Europe.
Probably. You can't watch too much of it though, because it's a lot.
I know. I love it. I love it. It's British comedy at its highest form.
I gotta believe that some of those guys flame out early. I mean, heart attacks and stuff like
I
that.
can't
'cause of-
imagine. Like, just imagine if you. Well, I was gonna say imagine like I don't know.
Or they're
Imagine
probably
a
all down at the
situation-
pub drinking afterwards
Right.
with each other, like wrestling.
That would be my thing, because like you and I can talk smack, me and Diesel can talk smack, and then I can also hang out with you guys after the show, and it's perfectly fine. And I was gonna say, imagine a job where every day you talked openly and very publicly, and there were 40 guys around you, and their only job was to just ridicule you relentlessly. And then I realized that's literally my job.
That's what we do, man. No, Keegan, I think Stephen A would go over there and go, nope, it's the same for me. It's not true, by the way. Rob is that talent that's willing to go the extra mile and jump in when people need help and doesn't normally go, do you know who I am? There are occasions.
I mean, doesn't
There
normally do. I
are
never do
occasions
that.
you don't have to say it without saying it, you know.
I wear a shirt with my name on it. Where were we? We were crap. Where were we? I gotta remember where it was. I'll come up with it.
Pretty bad when you don't remember where you are.
Drama. We can all say we don't love some drama, but
I'm
We
okay
all love
with
some
I'm okay
drama.
with drama if I'm not in the middle of it.
yeah, we love other people's drama.
Although some drama I'm in the middle of it, I'm having way too much fun. So Still waiting on that strongly worded email.
I mean, we can say what we want, but we love other people's drama. Reality shows are the biggest genre in TV for a reason. All right. Come and whisper in my ear, give us dirty laundry. We love it. We love it. Jim Irsay on Tuesday decided to go off on the embattled owner of the Washington Commanders, Daniel Snyder. Now, it's not the first time it happened. In fact, I got an audio clip. This clip comes from 2019, and this clip is Jim Irsay back in 2019 when asked his comments about removing Daniel Snyder based on Snyder's behavior as the owner of that franchise.
I don't know. I assume, we're going to get in to more and more discussion on that. It's a difficult situation. I believe that there's merit to remove him as owner of the Redskins. I think it's something that we have to review. We have to look at all the evidence, and we have to be thorough in going forward. But, I think it's something that has to be given serious consideration to.
That was Jim Irsay back in 2019. And then obviously since then, the NFL's had some bigger fish to fry, metaphorically speaking. COVID, CTE controversy, a lockout, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But all of that is in the rear view mirror at this point. All of that's in the rear view mirror. Now, the mirror has turned back to Daniel Snyder. On Tuesday, Irsay talked to reporters and told them that he believes that it is time for Daniel Snyder to go. And he shared some details with Albert Breer of Sports Illustrated regarding the reason he decided to speak out. He said, knowing Mara Wellington and Dan Rooney and Lamar Hunt and the owners through the years, I know what we're about as owners. Even in the last day, I had a chance to talk to Eddie DiBartolo Jr., who's the owner of the 49ers, and former Commissioner Paul Tagliabue, and just kind of reminisce about the context of decades that have passed and things that have happened. All those things give you certain direction and vision. He basically went on to say that Snyder, by being a tool, is making all the owners look bad. Quote, I don't like the fact that sometimes the way owners are viewed, people think we can do whatever we want with all the sorts of issues that are out there, because that's not true. This is not what we stand for, this sort of thing. I mean, it's absolutely not. So the league's very important to me. I've been taught by founders of the league and, like I said, Lamar and Wellington and Dan Rooney, that you do what's best for the Colts, but you do what's best for the league too. You have to protect the shield to protect the league, and I don't like to see the shield damaged. And right now, the shield is taking some damage from all of this, end quote. He went on to talk more about Snyder's relationships with female employees. He said, just having 3 daughters and 7 granddaughters, I can relate to that sort of thing. My 7 granddaughters, as they venture off in different forms of working for organizations, I know the culture that we have in Indianapolis. I know the special culture that we have and the family atmosphere that we have developed there. That's important to me, and I believe it's important to many owners in this league because that's what we are about, end quote. Jim Irsay went off on Daniel Snyder. And I want to talk about part one of what struck me here. A lot of people have fired back and been like, isn't Jim Irsay the dude who had a bunch of drug problems? Yeah, I need you to know I don't care. I don't care, right? What Jim Irsay does on his rec time with his own money and his own person ain't my business, dog.
Yeah, but wasn't there like some DUIs and some things like that, if I recall? And I could be wrong about that, because if that's true, then it does become.
He did have a DUI back in hang on, it's coming up. 2014. He got a DUI back in 2014.
All right, so how is that protecting the Shield? So I get where people are coming from, saying why is he the guy out there speaking up when he's had his own problems where he could have gotten in trouble with the league
and should have, by the way. In fact, I believe he did. Didn't he get suspended for a year? I think he had to.
It was something
stay away
like
from
that.
the Colts
Yeah.
for a year. You know, I'm not saying Jim Irsay is a great dude. I'm saying that DUIs aside, right? If Irsay has an issue with substances, as long as he's not hurting anybody else, I don't care. That's pretty much my stance on everything is, are you impacting other people? If you want to go out and do a bunch of coke and hang out with strippers on the weekend, as long as you ain't hurting nobody else, I don't care.
By the way, cocaine is illegal. So that also would hurt the Shield if you're going out and doing that because it's against the law.
I get the point.
And if you're not in Nevada, I believe is the only place where prostitution is legal, you're also breaking the law.
I understand. And you are correct in that regard. The point that I'm making is I personally don't care. I
think it comes down to that that the person delivering the message sometimes can mar the message because of their past. So if another owner who is, even if it was Jerry Jones, I mean, to a degree, people don't like Jerry Jones because they think he's run the Cowboys into the ground. But still, if it was Jerry Jones saying it, it would sound different compared to Irsay saying it.
I get it. And again, I'm not even disagreeing with you. I'm saying Irsay's right. And I would say to some degree that people who have fought demons sometimes are the best demon hunters, right? Like people who have been through their own thing and come out the other side sometimes are the best people to try to inspire change. I've been there. Like the best advocates to end addiction are people who have been addicted, who have been to the bottom and can go, this is what rock bottom looks like. I lived there. Now I'm back, and here's why, right? All of that being said, Dan Snyder sucks, all right? We all know that. Dan Snyder sucks. Snyder coming back and firing off at Irsay is hilarious. Commanders fired off a statement that said, it is unfortunate that Mr. Irsay decided to go public with a statement today while an investigation is in process, and the team had no opportunity to formally respond to the allegation. The Commanders have made remarkable progress over the past 2 years. We are confident that when he has an opportunity to see the actual evidence in the case, Mr. Irsay will conclude that there is no reason for the Snyders to consider selling the franchise, and they won't. Elsewhere in the statement, they said that Jim Irsay's opinions are based on, quote, falsehoods in the media, end quote. You know, I got to tell you, there's not much in the world that I put less faith in, Zoe, than some entity saying, we're investigating ourselves. You know, we've conducted a thorough investigation of our behavior. Because you know what that statement has never been followed with? And a lot went wrong and everybody's fired. It's never followed. It's like, while there may have been some breaches of protocol, we believe that we acted in good faith.
Those things were handled internally.
Yeah, correct.
So we took care of it. It's all right. We got it. We're good now.
Don't worry about it. We took care of it. But did you? I mean, really? Really? Dan Snyder has over and over been shown to be one of the, if not the worst owner in the National Football League. And by the way, you guys know my stance on the owners in the National Football League. There ain't one of them that I am a fan of. The only one that I'm mild towards is Arthur Blank in Atlanta, who is at least trying to make Falcons games a more enjoyable experience, right? The rest of them, including my own, not a fan. Can't stand them. Can't stand them. Dan Snyder's the worst of a group of people that I don't like. I'm not a big Jim Irsay guy. But Irsay doing and saying stuff that he has done in the past, which, by the way, we are a nation of second chances, are we not? Like, isn't that one of the things we always talk about America being, a land of second chances? pay your debt to society, and earn your second chance. Jim Irsay has done that, right? Jim Irsay paid. He did his time. He paid his fines. He sat away from his team for a year. He did it. Texture says, fan, you may not like the guy or the message, but Irsay has settled his debt to society and deserves an opinion. That's correct. That's how I feel about it. Could Daniel Snyder do the same thing? Sure. Years down the road. Years down the road, just like Jim Irsay, years down the road. But my guy popping off with fake news ain't the answer, Daniel. We have already seen it, man. And you investigating you and finding out you did nothing wrong. The next thing I expect is Dan Snyder releasing a documentary with some inspirational music going, I don't know, I was just playing with my kids. I was just chilling with my kids. I was just hanging out with my kids.
Is he one of the owners that does his own music? I know there's some of those in basketball. I'm just picturing him playing a banjo or something.
Hey, John Tesh, I need some inspirational music
Hey,
to try to
all right,
convince
all right,
everybody
all right, all
that
right.
all of this harassment's okay because I've got kids.
Don't you disparage John Tesh.
I love
All right?
John Tesh.
That's okay. All right.
I love John Tesh. The John Tesh NBA basketball song is on my Spotify rotate list. Love John Tesh.
Listen,
Shouldn't, but do.
If you're going after Yanni next, I might have to come over there and shove you.
Listen, half my generation was born because of Yanni. All right. I was around with my mom's friends. They love some Yanni. Yanni was
I had a joke that was not appropriate, so I'm not going to go there.
on this show.
Yeah, I was thinking about a Jets quarterback. You can never say you hung out with your mom's friends again.
Zach Wilson's
Ever.
friends love
Ever.
Yanni. Zach Wilson's like, hey, Mrs. Jones.
All right,
Hang on, let
all
me
right.
put on some music.
All right, Jesse Tesh. I'm going to say your last name because it says John Tesh is his cousin.
No, it's not. Is it really, Jesse? No, it's not. Can you get John Tesh on the show? I want to talk with John Tesh.
John Tesh is too highbrow to be on this show.
Most people are too highbrow. to be on this
Exactly.
show.
Exactly.
Can you get John Tesh on the show, Jesse?
You know what? If we get John Tesh, that other show will get Yanni.
John. He says 100%. John or Jesse, if you get John Tesh on this show, I have got a Fan Upstate shirt and hat for you, buddy. You hook us up with a conversation with John Tesh, and I've got a Fan Upstate shirt and hat for you. And John Tesh, by the way.
By the way, Frisbee says you're a Michael Bolton guy.
Hey, y'all can hate on Michael Bolton all you want. The dude put out some bangers. You know who else did? Kenny G. Come at me, bro. A bunch of goats. A bunch of legends. Timmy F., you tell me right now that there was not a point in time where you didn't spend some time with a young lady and call in Kenny G or Michael Bolton for the assist. Tell me that's never happened, Tim Frisbee. You never once were like, let me set the mood. Come on, man. You know you did. You know you did. Kenny G, Yanni, and Michael Bolton are the John Stocktons of soccer mom music. Right? And if she's wearing cowboy boots, then you add Lone Star to that equation. You know what I'm talking about.
What's Lone Star?
The soccer mommist band of all time.
Can you give me a hit that it's country, so of course I don't.
They remade that "Life Is a Highway" song for the movie Cars.
Oh, okay. Their version is horrible compared to the original.
Correct.
Yeah.
They also made one called "Amazed." Honey, I'm amazed by you.
All right.
It's terrible.
But
Soccer moms love it.
I've heard of
Yeah,
that
damn
one
right you
before.
have.
I have, and your twang was right on point
I
there.
know it was. I'm good at this. All right, let's take a break. That was a very sincere, serious segment that somehow turned into how Kenny G, Yanni, and Michael Bolton can help you with the ladies, especially if they've got kids at soccer practice. Like I said, if you're out in Anderson, add Lone Star to that rotation, and you are in there like swimwear. Section says Rob Yacht Rock Brown still rock the. I love it. I'm not going to read the rest of that texture, but I like it. Damn, now I want to go listen to Michael Bolton.
Hey, I got to go to the restroom. Will you go to a break, please?
The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's the Fan Upstate. What a boat show of a segment. It started with great intentions, y'all. Great intentions. Hashtag Zach Wilson playlist. Exactly right. Be right back.
I could have sworn I was prime for a second.
Prime?
Deion Sanders. He looks a little bit like Deion Sanders. He's having a conversation with his cell phone out in the parking lot.
Talking to Nick Saban about their next Aflac commercial.
Maybe. A little too short to be Deion, though, and he's walking too well. Look at that. 2 UFC guys and they're nose to nose, and nothing happened.
Situational context is.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Sean O'Malley went straight up red. That was like clown hair, dude. You should not have done that.
Sugar Sean.
I just sent it to you on Twitter. It may take a second to get this. You got Ronald McDonald Carrot Top vibes going there. You should not have done that.
I don't think he cares.
No, look at it. If you got time, it's like I said, I sent it to you on Twitter. I'm a Sean O'Malley fan, but I don't think that color works.
It really is a bozo wig.
Yeah, it's just not.
It's a whole. You want whole fro too.
Yeah. I mean, it might look okay when he puts it in the tight rolls on his head, but right there, I don't know. It's not funny, Tim. It's all well and good, and you had to bring up REO Speedwagon. So is Cody's beard that pointy or is his chin?
No, it's that pointy. Both.
So it's,
both, but
because it's showing that side view and it's kind of
yes,
it's got the Abraham Lincoln type thing.
He is working towards that Leonidas look.
Yeah.
Wrapping up hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show right here on the Fan Upstate. Rob and Lonzo and you. Any other bands we want to add to the hashtag Zach Wilson playlist, which I have, by the way, I you know what? I'm making it on Spotify right now. I am making the Zach Wilson playlist. Let's see if anybody else has done that so far. Somebody did, right? Somebody
Yeah,
did. Let's see what's on it.
too many people think that way. There's got to be one on there for sure.
I'm looking it up on Spotify right now. It's got to be.
It'd be even better if it was actually his playlist.
Oh, yeah. No, there's not actually. All right. Well, that's ingenuity at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. So here's what I need you to do.
By the way, really quick, Piotr Jan has shoved Sean O'Malley, and then they were separated. So Piotr Jan, obviously the aggressor.
Yes, and UFC press junkets are exactly like real life.
There will be more about Piotr coming up because I just want to say Piotr.
That's because,
fun
ladies
name.
and gentlemen, it's Thursday, and you know what that means.
It's Piotr time.
It's Piotr time. All right, Kenny G, Michael Bolton, Yanni, and Lone Star are the 4 artists that start the hashtag Zach Wilson playlist.
Yeah, I thought it was some Air Supply.
Air Supply is not bad.
Yeah.
Air Supply is not a bad pick. I need artists and songs to go on the Zach Wilson playlist. That playlist that you are going to drop onto the Bluetooth when you're making a pass at your mom's friend. The Zach Wilson playlist is alive and well. Alive and well. Keegan says Boys to Men's got to be on there. Obviously it does. I also have to remind myself that while this joke is funny, Lonzo,
It's all people like your age.
Correct.
Now it'd be people your
the
age.
lady
yeah.
that Zach Wilson was hitting on that made this funny is younger than me. All right? So it hits a little different. It hits a little different now. Because I just realized that all of the bands that are going to be on the playlist that you bump when you're hitting on your mom's friends are the bands that my friends listened to growing up. Right? Boys to Men. I listened to Boys to Men when they were like actively recording stuff. So did all the women in my life. The cougars that Zach Wilson is hunting now are my age. Texture says, Fountains of Wayne. You know the song, Shasta. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. Texture says, fan, the Josh Allen 17 playlist is way better. Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen, Josh Allen.
I don't know if you put NSYNC in there. Maybe.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, some of their slower stuff, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Yeah. Little NSYNC love song. Let's see. What song would you throw on? Oh, no. We've just wandered back into boy band territory. It's not good.
I tried to keep us out of there, but it was too late.
No, you didn't. You brought up NSYNC. I hadn't even seen
No.
yet.
Jesse did on the stream.
All right. I'm not even going to go any further down that road. Not even going further down that road. This I Promise You by NSYNC is on the Zach Wilson playlist. All right. Send me your tweets with hashtag Zach Wilson playlist and the songs you want added. I'm going to build it on Spotify. Let's see, what did Rhonda say? Rhonda said, imagine what your ratings would be if you talk sports. It's my mother.
Wow, your mom got stick to sports.
In fairness, we just did do a segment where I talked about what to do when you hit on your mom's friends. So that's probably the only person I accept a stick to sports text from. Back after this for hour 3 of the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Like, my initial thoughts were like, what am I putting on the Zach Wilson playlist? Frankie Valli.
Come
the
on.
4 Seasons.
Come on.
The Temptations. And then I'm like, wait a minute. All of my mom's friends are in their 60s going into their 70s now.
Yeah, but they probably weren't listening to Frankie Valli. I mean, maybe.
Sherry, baby.
I thought you would have went with "Oh What a Night" because that kind of would go along with the topic. Great. Now that song's gonna be in my head all day.
Businesses of all types can qualify, including those that took PPP, nonprofits, and even those that increased in sales. We have helped return over $1 billion to businesses, and we can help you too. Just go to getrefunds.com/sports, click on Qualify Me, and answer a few questions. This payroll tax refund is only available for a limited period of time. Don't lose out on up to $26,000 per employee. Go to getrefunds.com/sports. That's getrefunds.com/sports.
I'll second guest dinners with friends because they can be interrupted by diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or the stools. It turns out I have EPI, or exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, which means I'm missing the enzymes needed to digest food. My doctor prescribed Creon, pancrelipase, an oral prescription medication that replaces pancreatic digestion.
Thank you, Tim. Now that song has replaced the other one, which I'm not even going to think of because I'll just hear "I Swear" in my head.
Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon.
Creon is the #1 prescribed EPI treatment. Ask your doctor about Creon for EPI and visit creoninfo.com or call 800-633-9110 to learn more. That's CREON info.com.
Update sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. The first full night of NBA action included the Suns racing a 22-point third quarter hold to beat the Mavs 107.
See, I'm completely out of this age range, so I mean, you know, it's just because I'm a lot older. So, not that I don't recognize almost all the music that's been mentioned.
Bum 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 bum.
Yeah, I try to get that out of my head. Don't put it back.
It's a great little bass line too. Boom 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 boom. Oh, all right, I gotta stop. Scott Steiner has talked about his math promo.
Why?
Somebody asked him. I'm sure everybody's got a podcast now.
And Trey, don't be putting Bon Jovi in there.
He ended his take on the math podcast by saying, and it made sense. No, Scott, that's why it's so great.
You're right. You're right, Steven. Unchained Melody.
Oh, dude, legendary. Unchained Melody
Zach-
has helped Rob
Zach
Brown
Wilson
go
helped
undefeated
mold
at many
clay.
win receptions.
Wow. StreamYard logins are going crazy. So,
I know, I got like 10 of
so
them.
someone's over there trying to help and they don't know what they're doing. Oh, great song, Keegan. I give up the world.
Oh, man. And I don't want the world to see me. At least Keegan's rebooted me to like late 90s, early 2000s alternative stuff.
Does your band play that song?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh, yeah.
Do you get to sing on it?
No.
Oh, that
No.
sucks.
I don't sing on any songs that actually require singing,
Okay.
except AC/DC, and even that's debatable.
Do you at least mouth the words while you're playing?
Oh, I'm the dude that like I sing to myself off the mic, right?
You just
I
shake.
stand to the
You
I
do
like
it.
back
You're doing
up
a
off the
groove
mic,
while
and I
you're
sing every word of
yeah.
every song, but not into the mic. I recall it in much. It didn't work. Didn't work. You had me for a second, Keegan. And I don't want the world to see me, because I don't think that they'd understand when everything
QC in the first break.
is broken. I just want you to know who I am. The third, the best, the final, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob, Lonzo, and you. It is the Rob Brown Show. Got about 52 more minutes of this greatness. If you want to jump on board, you're welcome to do it. First off, give us a buzz. 844-FAN-PHONE, FANFONE. 844-326-3663. Also, text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them on the air. You got something a little more long format, but you don't want to go on the air with it? You can email me, rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. rob.brown@thefanupstate.com. Texter says, who's going to see Hoobastank tonight? Hashtag Zach Wilson's playlist is taking off like wildfire right now. The stream chat has popped off on the Zach Wilson playlist. I just went to the restroom during the break. It was on in the bathroom. 2 other jocks from other stations were in there, and they got to talking about what they would put on the Zach Wilson playlist. And the only part that hurts about this, is that all the songs that you guys are adding onto a playlist that would be hypothetically created by a current NFL quarterback in order to seduce his mother's friends is the realization that his mother's friends are my age. So all the songs he's putting on there, my response, Lonzo, is, hey, that's a really good song. Oh, God. That's because all the moms that he's hitting on are my age.
All right. Tim Frisbee says Meatloaf, but we won't do that. Sorry. That's one we can't do that.
I mean, I would do anything for the love of Zach Wilson's mom's friends.
But not that.
Not that. By the way, Texter, I did not get Hoobastank tickets. If I was to come across one between now and 7:30 tonight, I absolutely would.
I saw your eyes light up. Wait, there's a concert.
Yeah.
I should be there.
Well, like ordinarily, like I've got a pretty good line on.
Don't you have one of your
here.
57 jobs to do tonight?
No, the Saints play tonight. Thursday Night Football, Saints Cardinals.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
Do they?
I mean, it's Thursday Night Football, so I expect like a 5-2 ending because Thursday Night Football has been hot garbage.
Yay, defense.
Half the Saints are on the IL right now, so, I put it this way. I've hit the point in the season where I'm like, we're going to lose. Who cares?
Taysom Hill throws the ball. Taysom Hill catches the ball. Taysom Hill scores. Taysom Hill is calling the plays on the sideline.
Taysom Hill in as punt returner and kick returner and probably punter.
Taysom Hill and the Frisbee Dogs.
Texter says, Rob, is Olave playing or not? That's my sleeper. Chris Olave has been deeply rooted on the Rob Brown fantasy bench for the past few weeks. I still think that dude has a real chance to be a freaking star. He had two really good weeks for the Saints earlier in the year, but he's been dealing with it.
And then people realize, hey, this is the only real receiver the Saints have. Let's shut him down.
Olave was practicing in full. He is set to go. He is not on the final injury report required before the game itself. So Olave should be a go. And I will tell you that if he's on your fantasy team, play him because Michael Thomas and Jarvis Landry are both out for the Saints. So Olave's not only going to play, but he's probably wide receiver 1 for the Saints.
So is Taysom the starting QB? Or
no,
is Dalton?
I think they're going to go with Andy Dalton. I think they're going to go with Dalton until Dalton just can't do it. But that's what they did with Jameis, and it cost them Carolina's only win of the year.
Dalton's hair got redder. Man, he looks like a supervillain. He does. It's weird.
We'll see.
You think as you get older, it would change a little, but it's gotten brighter.
Keegan said Taysom's the only tight end who will get you 40 points in fantasy. Yeah, the deadly old QB/TE/RB/KR guy. Only a couple of those around the league. All right, let's get into some more stuff before we get up out of here for the day. Christian McCaffrey was asked yesterday about the swirling rumors of a trade. I made the prediction yesterday. Why are you looking at me like that? This is new. This is not old. This is new.
I'm just waiting. Because if you were to download Views from Mint Street, you will see one particular title, and it says, "I hate you." Make sure you download that one.
It's really funny. Lonzo ended the podcast yesterday. You know, ordinarily when we get to the end of the pod, I'm like, all right, Lonzo, any final words for the people before we get up out of here? And Lonzo will give us his, kind of a wrap-up thoughts, and then I'll do the same. Lonzo said something quite harsh and then said, and don't ask me for my final thoughts because that's all you're getting from me, and then just turned off his mic. He was not thrilled about my Christian McCaffrey take, which, if you missed it, was that by October 31st, by Halloween, Christian McCaffrey's costume will be running back for another football team. My speculation is the Chiefs, but the Niners are in that group, the Rams are in that group, and the Bills are in that group, and the Packers are in that group. McCaffrey will not be a Panther by the end of this month. All right, that's my take. Now, we don't have to go too deep into that. I gave you all my reasons yesterday. But McCaffrey got asked yesterday about being the subject of so many trade rumors. He said, quote, "I'm keeping that away from me. That's out of my control. I'm trying to control everything I can control, and that's having a great meeting here next. Right now, I'm a Carolina Panther, and I'm giving my all to this place. If they keep me in the loop, great. If not, it doesn't matter. Like I said, to me, I'm focused on playing against the Bucs this week right now, and I'm doing everything I to prepare for that game." Maybe I'm reading into it a bit, and Lonzo's going to tell me that I am. Maybe I'm reading into it a little bit, but that most definitely sounds like a guy who knows he's on his way out, or at least believes to some degree that he is.
This is one of those times where I would like to hear the audio rather than hear it, you reading what he said.
It was behind a paywall, so I couldn't find it.
Yeah, because I think tone would let us know some of that.
Sure.
He's pretty even toned, but if there's any emotion in it at all, then I would lean the way that you're saying. But we don't see it, so I don't know.
I don't disagree with that. I tried to find the audio. I had about 30 minutes before the show spent looking for it because this is big, right? This is important.
This is a guy, though, that won't affect his play on the field. Some guys it will affect their play on the field, Robbie Anderson, but Christian McCaffrey, it's not going to affect his play. He plays one way.
I don't disagree. I think you're going to get the best version of McCaffrey that McCaffrey can possibly provide. I also think there is a little added incentive because keep in mind that while McCaffrey did get his contract restructuring, there are a lot of people who believe that McCaffrey is a one-year rental, right? He's a guy you're bringing in for this year, and then you move on from that contract. And if McCaffrey is going to be moved on from, he wants to do so in a way that he gives himself a chance for a restructure and more money down the line. / let's be honest with each other, Zoe. If you're going to get traded, you want to get traded to the best team you can get traded to. So at least you give yourself a shot at getting ringed up this year, right? McCaffrey can help himself if he goes out and he has another 100+ yard from scrimmage game against Tampa this Sunday when the Cats lose to the Bucs. Which, by the way, Views from Mint Street podcast, we're going to be breaking that game down. We'll be recording it later today. It'll be posted tomorrow morning for your Friday breakdown. So if you're not already, do us a favor, go get subscribed to the Views from Mint Street podcast wherever major podcasts are found, on Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, Apple iTunes, or free on the Odyssey app. Make sure you get those alerts. Zoe and I drop 3 episodes a week. We'll be talking nothing but Cats football. 4? Are we doing an extra one this week?
No, I just felt like doing that.
Oh, okay. You confused me. I'm easily confused.
No, I screwed up, and now I'm trying to cover what I was
Fair
saying
enough.
because I was not. Yeah.
Fair enough. Zoe just wasn't paying attention. It happens to the best of us.
No. I was thinking 4 per setting, not 3 per week. So my mind, I was right, but I was wrong also.
Fair enough. All right. So get yourself subscribed to the Views from Mint Street podcast. McCaffrey sounds like a dude. To me, McCaffrey sounds like a dude that is not necessarily resigned to being sent away from the only team that he's known in the league so far. But he absolutely does sound like a guy who knows that he likely is on his way out. Like he likely is on his way out. Here you go, Zoe. I'm gonna say I just found it. Just found it on Twitter. I'm gonna send you the audio to your Twitter inbox. So if you want to pull it from there, we can actually listen to it. It's not very long. It's only like 28 seconds, but this is when Zoe gets it pulled up. I suspect it's probably fine for air because it's Christian McCaffrey in it's not even a press conference. It's in front of his locker. I doubt we're going to get any bad language out of the Cat locker room. So here's Christian McCaffrey.
Keeping that away from me, that's out of my control. I'm trying to control everything I can control, and that's, having a great meeting here next, and right now I'm a Carolina Panther and giving my all to this place.
Is that a deal where you sort of like to be kept in the loop, though, given what you've meant and done for this franchise?
If they keep me in the loop, great. If not, doesn't matter. Like I said, to me, I'm focused on playing against the Bucs this week right now and doing everything I can to prepare for that game.
It's exactly what I expected it to sound like.
Yeah, same here. I was a little concerned about the background noise, about whether something would, creep in there. Wasn't worried about Christian. Everybody else has something totally different.
Yep.
Yeah, just watching him, it's
there's nothing I can do about it. I'm just out here to be the best Panther I can be. I got a big game against Tampa this weekend, and that's precisely what I'm trying to focus on right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's smiling. He's being him. He looks like he's being truthful. He has no idea what's going on, and he's going to go out there and play. And I have no doubt he's going to play hard. And if they're smart, they'll give him 30 touches. Don't listen to Rob.
I mean, again, like if I'm Carolina, I'm kind of at the point where I don't know. Like there's part of me that wants to wrap him in bubble wrap, right? Because if he breaks his leg against Tampa this weekend, you got nothing.
Would you stop doing that? Stop it.
I'm not saying I want it to happen. I obviously do not. I like the kid. I like Christian McCaffrey. All I'm saying here is if he busts his knee this weekend against Tampa, you've got no value in him as a player or as a potential pool of draft picks, right? I mean, you got to play the guy, but you don't got to play the guy. You got to play him, but you don't got to play him.
See, now you're getting into territory where, okay, so if he doesn't play, then you're going to know right away they're trading him.
Yes. Oh, no. Let me rephrase that. They're trading him.
Yeah, I know that's what you say, and I disagree with you, and we'll see.
We will. Let's see. NFL trade deadline is, I want to say it's the 1st of November. NFL trade deadline is, the 1st of November. So you got
12 days.
12 days. Yeah. Now, he's good as gone. And I mean, listen to that guy, right? Like there's no, and again, Christian McCaffrey's never been a wear his emotion on his sleeve kind of guy. That's CMC. That's the tone you're going to get. I suspect that if Carolina came back this year, went undefeated the rest of the way, got a wild card and won the Super Bowl at the Super Bowl parade, they'd be like, Christian, how do you feel? And he'd be like, feels real good to hold the trophy.
All right, so I'm curious. If you're wrong on this, and I know you're adamant in saying that you're not going to be wrong, but if you are wrong on this, because there's a chance you could be wrong, are you okay with being wrong?
Yeah. McCaffrey's
value. If they don't trade McCaffrey, are they making a mistake?
Yes, but it's one that I'm okay with. It's a gamble. Let me rephrase that. If they don't trade McCaffrey, are they making a mistake? We won't know for a couple of years, right? We won't know for a couple of years. Because you're gambling. You are gambling that McCaffrey is going to be able to stay healthy for a couple of years. And the trend of his career is he's not, although he might be in the process of proving us wrong right now. We won't know till the end of the year. And B, you're taking the gamble that the return you would have gotten with that first and second or first and third and fourth or first and fourth and fifth and sixth or whatever it was going to line up to be. You're gambling that the return you would have got with players you could have selected there is going to be less than the return you get from keeping McCaffrey on the roster. Am I saying they're making a mistake? In my opinion, yes. But there's no way to answer that for another 3 years.
Ben McAdoo speaking to the media live, and all I can do is just wait for him to bring out this huge plate of food to see if he can beat it or not. You know you can't unsee it. He is the man versus food guy.
Yeah.
He is for sure that guy.
All right, ladies and
His
gentlemen.
hair is awesome today.
It's awesome. His hair's never awesome. McCaffrey's gone. Go ahead and call it.
Nope.
We'll see.
Panther faux life.
Let's take a break. It's Thursday. You know what that means? It's time for Fight Club with Lonzo. When we come back, you're home for all things combat sports. A lot coming out of the UFC right now. Boxing went from one of the most very exciting times they've had in a while to nothing. And professional wrestling has like 4 pay-per-views coming up between all the companies over the next few weeks. It's going to be a busy Fight Club. That's next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, stream. Be right back. Don't go nowhere.
throw the ball. That's how you don't get opportunities. Receivers can be open all day, but if you're beyond 5-yard line, you ain't getting nothing. Welcome into the Fight Club, where we come at you like a Jordan Poole shove. You know why? That means we want some, but unlike us, you try to throw that Superman punch, I'm going to fireman's carry you onto your forehead, and you're going to have rug burn there for weeks.
You want some? Come get some.
I'm not going to do ruthless aggression because I'll lose my voice.
Ruthless aggression.
I got to use my voice for some other things. All right. A ton of things going on this weekend, including there is a premium live event for the WWE, and there is a pay-per-view for UFC. It's UFC 280. You think they start over when they get to 90 and 999? I'm not sure I'll be alive then if it makes it that far. I don't know.
Really hyped for UFC 1126. Ain't neither one of us going to be around for that.
I think, yeah. If they're only at 280, yeah, they're probably, yeah, we're not going to be around. Dana White will, though. He'll still be alive. All right, so finally there is a card.
Finally,
there's a card that might make me think about buying it.
Really?
Yeah, because it's at 2 p.m. Saturday, so it's right in the middle. So you really, really got to be into this card and really into UFC to buy this card because it's 2 p.m. Saturday, right in the middle of college football. Somewhere that other show, they just both fainted because, college football, you can't, there's nothing else going on but college football. But I just,
you can't watch it.
The NFL's not on. So yeah, I could watch it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I could watch UFC. I can't watch college football because we don't talk about that. So UFC 280, there's some decent matches, but there are 3 that would make you possibly want to buy the pay-per-view, including Piotr Jan. That's starting out with Piotr because it's Piotr. By the way, go around saying Piotr at the office if you're listening right now. It's just fun. It really is. Even if you can't say it out loud, just mouth it. It's fun to say Piotr Jan going up against Sugar Shane O'Malley, and O'Malley he went Ronald McDonald red hair on his. It's a mistake. I mean, his fro is usually magnificent and multicolored, and he just went red.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah, it's just, he's not going to, I guess he could fight in the fro. It's probably a mistake, though, but I don't think he will. So Piotr Jan versus Sean O'Malley, that's going to be a fun fight. Sean O'Malley, one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. Cannot wait to see that. I might see it live or I might see it otherwise. I don't know. Another fight. Let's see if I can say Aljamain Sterling. I did. I said it. I said Aljamain Sterling.
Let's see if I can say this thing, says it perfectly, and stuns himself.
Yeah, well, that feeling. Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw.
I never mispronounce this.
Yeah, never, ever. Aljamain Sterling versus TJ Dillashaw, also a big-time fight. 2 fights right there that would be worth seeing because of main event, but that's not the main event. The main event is for the lightweight championship, Charles Oliveira versus Islam. I'm not even going to try his last name. Not even going to do it. I can hand it to you if you want to give it a shot. It's the top left guy.
Makhachev.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Makhachev or Makhachek, one of the other.
Yeah, but anyway, he is a Habib guy. And so they're pushing this. And Charles Oliveira is probably one of the, if not the best pound per pound fighter right now. I mean, you got Israel Adesanya. There's a couple other guys like that, but Charles is up there. So that might be worth watching. So I'm not going to ask you the other ones, but who you got in that fight?
I'm going to be real with you. Football season has killed my MMA participation. Like killed it. And it's not that I'm not interested. It's not that I don't want to get into it. Or get back into it, I guess I should say. It's just that I think, Lonzo, they spent How many out of the last like 10 cards, how many of them would you say were like, that's a good card?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
There's
right?
like one over the summer that was really, really good. And that's probably the last one that I bought.
It's basically they've basically created a situation that is in a lot of ways similar to what's happened over the years past in professional wrestling, that you run enough cards that aren't very good at me, and I'm gonna check out, not because I don't care about the product, but because you get to the point where I'm like, I don't know what's going on, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask. So I just kind of bail out from it all. And I think, unfortunately, UFC kind of hit that point for me where I'm like, I feel like I'm so far out of it, and there's so much else going on, especially with the NBA has started back up, baseball's in its playoffs, the NHL is now underway. There is so much going on right now that the UFC has unfortunately taken a back seat for me.
Do you even remember who I said was fighting to ask you who was?
No.
Okay. All
No,
right.
I really don't. And again, it's not because I'm not a fan or don't care or disconnected or anything like that. It just has gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't know.
All right. So for the people who think I talk too much wrestling during Fight Club, I tried. That's all. I'm just gonna say I tried.
No, and again, to
but
be
you're
abundantly clear,
but you're
this
right.
is on me.
No,
it
but
is
no,
a me problem.
No, you're right, and I think they know that too. This is not an off season for them, but it's kind of the slow season for them because they have to compete with all the other sports. When baseball's over, when football winds down, then's when they start putting together the better cards. Just a couple really good fights on this card.
Yeah, and I suspect that to be true, right? Like I very much suspect that at some point we're gonna get toward we're gonna get the World Series. Football is going to be, the playoffs are going to be wrapping up at that point. There's going to be a point where everything else slows its roll just a little bit, and the UFC can then start bumping out some better cards that are going to have me paying a little bit more attention, and now I can get back caught up, and now I can feel like I'm kind of engaged again. But again, UFC hasn't really had any stories, for a lack of a better term, hasn't really had any stories going lately that I'm like, oh, I better check back in and see what this is all about.
All right, speaking of stories, let's jump into some wrestling. NXT went head to head with AEW, and AEW won. It did, but maybe for the wrong reason in one case, not their fault. But let's jump into Halloween Havoc really quick. There are 6 matches, starting with Julius Creed versus Damon Kemp. And if Damon Kemp wins, then Brutus Creed is no longer has a job, and it's an ambulance match. Ambulance matches are always fun. So who you got, Julius Creed or Damon Kemp? Now, Damon Kemp has come in and undermined the Diamond Mine and caused breakups, put Roddy in the hospital supposedly. So there's a lot of emotion going into this match.
I don't think I'm going to go Creed, and I think it's because you can't. I mean, I don't know. I love the stipulation of you are fighting for not your career, but you're fighting for his. But like at the same time, is this for a Nerf wall, by the way?
No.
Okay.
No, because it's going to happen. A lot of people who would be participating are not going to be on the show this weekend.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
Yeah. So that changes how you're going to pick.
Not necessarily, but I don't know, man. Like on one hand, it's like the concept of fighting for your brother, you know what I mean? Like should bring out the dog in you. On the flip side, the concept of fighting makes me believe that they got a story lined up without Brutus Creed there.
Unless I'm going to go with Julius Creed to win. Also, if he loses, I think the Creeds move up.
I don't think they're there yet. I don't think that they are our main roster ready, and nor do I think that they have gathered the attention of the NXT universe enough that H would take the shot at them next level. I am going to go that Damon Kemp wins, but there's some sort of redemption story for the Creed brothers before they move up.
Okay, next match, Apollo Crews versus Grayson Waller. It is a spin the wheel match.
Oh, Apollo wins this. They're not going to have Grayson go over him twice back.
I like these matches, but I'm trying to figure out how they fix that wheel to stop where they wanted to. Or if they legitimately spin the wheel and just pick whatever match it is.
I was going to say, I almost kind of think that it's developmental, right? And the whole point of developmental is to be able to throw things at these guys and gals and have them adapt to it. What could require you to adapt more and to create something more than walking out and not knowing what's about to happen? Like, if you're trying to develop, and by the way, Apollo's already been a main roster guy. Grayson Waller, I think, is very close to being ready to promote. Isn't this just kind of your final exam? Like, this would be a great final exam. Go out there, and now you've got to put on a match that you don't know what it is yet. And if you make it look good, it's time.
I agree. Apollo Crews wins this. Grayson Waller still rumored to be one of the Wyatt Six, which is a possibility because of build and how I believe it was the buzzard.
I hope so.
Yeah. Cora Jade versus Roxanne Perez. This thing's getting tired. It's also a spin the wheel match. I'm going to go with Cora Jade to win this.
It is a weapons wild match, which means that it's just a no DQ match, which is fine. The problem you're going to have is that Roxanne Perez is not a good wrestler. Cora Jade feels like she could be very close to being a good wrestler, but she's just not quite there yet. Y'all know I am all on board for some good women's wrestling. Like we've had multiple women wrestlers on the show over the years. Big fan. I got nothing for this match. I'll go Roxanne wins because I'm picking babyface more here, but I don't really care.
All right. Fatal 5-way ladder match for the NXT North American Championship. Carmelo Hayes versus Oro Mensah. Wesley versus Von Wagner versus Nathan Frazier. I'm going to go ahead and go with Wesley here.
I don't know. I can tell you who it's not going to be. It's not going to be Oro Mensah. I don't think it's Nathan Frazier, but they have been doing a lot of him and Axiom being buddy behind the scene, despite their best of 3 to get into this thing. Maybe Axiom gets involved and helps. But I think they got something for Von Wagner here. So unless he's just the foil to have everybody else tag up with each other, team up with each other to create some interesting drama, I'll go. Let's go Wagner. I guess.
He's the big guy in the match because he's the only one that can pick up the ladder. Let's see. Mandy Rose versus Alba Fire. I'm not sure this is going to happen. It might. The news is out that Mandy Rose's brother just died. That's why she hasn't been there.
She showed back up this week.
Yeah, true, but not for long. So anyway, is it time for our new NXT Women's Champion? Is it time for Mandy Rose to move back up to the main roster? She has thrived where she is. I say Mandy still keeps the championship.
I do too. And it's for a reason. There have been over the years a couple of guys and gals who get strapped at NXT and they kind of take on the role of final NXT boss for a little while. And Mandy, I think, might be doing that as good as anybody since Tommaso Ciampa, right? Like Ciampa on the men's side for a long time was the big baddie of NXT. You want to go to the main roster, you got to go through Ciampa. And it was really interesting until he got pulled up to be the Miz's assistant for no reason at all. Mandy kind of feels like she's pulled that off on the women's side. So I'm going to say she hangs on, but I'm also going to say this is not the last contest between these two.
All right. And finally for the NXT Championship, Braun Breaker versus JD McDonough versus Ilya Dragunov. I got to say, KO was hilarious. Talking about JD McDonough, you're just weird. No one likes you. I mean, it was great. It really was. That he was down there because Shawn Michaels asked him to come as a favor. I thought that was hilarious. I'm going to go with Ilya Dragunov to win here. That dude, and maybe it's because of the match that he had with the then Walter, now Gunther, the match for the belt, for the UK belt, like 6 months ago or something like that. It was an amazing match. And I think it's time for Breaker to lose the belt. So I'm going to go with Dragunov.
I don't think I'm almost to the point that I think Madonna's in the Madonna.
If Madonna was there, Madonna would probably win.
She would win. She would go over. He is in the match, I think, because you just brought Ilya Dragunov back, and I don't think you want to have him eat a pin yet, but I don't think they're ready to take it off a breaker yet. That dude is white hot at this point. In fact, I think he gives her a really good opportunity to do, as they've done in the past, a little bit of a run where you bring the NXT belt up to the main roster for a couple of weeks to kind of generate some more interest right now, especially while AEW is down a little bit. I think Braun Breaker retains, and I think JD is there to eat the pin.
All right. Speaking of AEW, really quick, we got a minute or so. It's about time that they put MJF up against another guy who could handle him on the mic. And they did that. It was an excellent promo between him and Regal. It's not like when it was him versus CM Punk, where he owned CM Punk and he's owned a lot of other people on the mic. Regal held his own as a master of the craft, and I thought it was amazing. Is MJF going to turn? Because there have been a lot of kind of indications that he might turn.
No. And the reason why is some people are just too good at what they do to have them do. I got passed over once many moons ago for a promotion that I wanted because I got told by the manager who passed me over with the promotion, picked another guy. He said, "You know why I picked them over you? Because you're too good at what you're doing now to move you out of this spot." And I was like, "Well, are you going to pay me the same as that other guy though? Because that's the only thing I care about, right? Like, I'm happy to stay in this role and keep doing this job if you are going to pay me what I would have been paid had I taken the promotion." He said, "No, it's one of 2 jobs I've ever walked off of in my life," right? MJF is too good in his role currently to move him to another spot. There's just no reason for it. But I'll tell you what they are doing. They're building a little bit of a tweener here, right? Like, to have MJF, I thought the brilliance of MJF, you know, the best bad guys in every movie, you know who the best bad guys are? The one that you're like, you're not wrong, you're just a bleep hole. You know what I mean? Like, you're not wrong, but I understand why you feel that way. You remember the movie The Rock? Sean Connery, Nick Cage, one of the greatest movies ever made. You know why that movie was so good? Because the bad guys who took over The Rock were completely relatable. The reason they were doing it was because they were desperate out of chances and had a really good cause that nobody else would pick up. And if you're watching that movie from the outside looking in, you're like, I understand why they're going there. MJF cutting promos about being bullied at school, cutting promos about being picked on, about having to stare down anti-Semitism throughout his life, about having his back being turned on by heroes or by his heroes. And in this last one, about genuinely having contemplating suicide in his past. Zoe, I think that even if you don't like him, you can understand why he is the way that he is, even if he does go too far. That being said, the injury to Hangman, keeping Hangman out for a while, you got to put that belt on MJF now. You have to. I love Mox, but Mox has told the same story over and over. It's time to put it on MJF and let him carry this company until Hangman's back, and then let Hangman be the redeemer. Unless you want to give it to Mira.
I agree with part of that. I do believe MJF is going to win this belt. And now that match is being scheduled for their next pay-per-view, which is in November. I forget. I think it's early November when that happens. One last thing, you mentioned the Millennial Cowboy. Man, that was rough.
Ooh, my man was out like a light.
That was one of the most devastating clotheslines that you could see. But the question is, did he get hurt because of how he chose to flip, or did he get hurt when he got hit?
I think he was out and flipped. Because if you notice,
so?
Most guys, when they take that lariat and they're going to flip, most guys, they backflip, right? They jump straight back over the arm. They don't really rotate. When Hangman rotates, not only does he not hit a full rotation or revolution, but the hands just kind of come out. I think he got KO'd on contact and then went headfirst into the canvas, and that's what did it to him. Look, wrestling's fun. It's dangerous. It is inherently, by definition, dangerous. And I hated to see it, especially considering it looked like they were finally about to give Hangman that real push that I think he has kind of been riding towards for a very long time. And I don't blame Mox. It's an accident, right? Like, I don't think Mox is stiff. I don't think he was working any harder than he's worked in any of the match. It's just, unlucky and unfortunate. But, it also gives you the chance to let him go away, let him rest up, let him cool off a little bit, let MJF go around being a butthole for a while with the belt, and then Hangman can come back and be the hero that pulls the belt back to the rest of the roster. I think it's great. I think you got an opportunity here. All right, kids, come back. Let's wrap this bad thing up. My name is Rob Brown. He's Lonzo. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate.
From the Ingles Market Studio, go
State 97.7 FM Green. 97.1 FM.
from the Philadelphia
Now on the West Coast Run Radio Network. Dak is officially back. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott was medically cleared to play Wednesday after missing 5 games with a fractured thumb. Prescott took all the first team reps at practice and threw with his receivers in a mock game. He's expected to start Sunday against the Lions. The Broncos are hopeful Russell Wilson will play Sunday. The Denver quarterback injured his hamstring Monday night, but he was able to get some limited work in at practice Wednesday. Sam Darnold was designated to return from injured reserve. He's been out since injuring his ankle in the preseason, but the Panthers say PJ Walker will get his second straight start Sunday at quarterback. Some other injury news: the Niners got Pro Bowler Nick Bosa and Trent Williams back at practice.
They had to go to the ringer.
And Giants running back Saquon Barkley was limited at practice, but the team says he'll be able to handle his usual workload come
If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's. So thank you if you're...
Texas said, is it time for boy band takes yet?
Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cup. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code KIND at checkout. That's harrys.com, code KIND. Enjoy.
Just go to Harry's.com and enter code KIND at checkout. That's Harry's.com, code KIND. Saturday mornings, every Saturday from 8 to 10.
Because we're not talking, Steven, so when we're not talking, the mics are picking up the commercials playing in the studio. So when we're talking, you shouldn't hear it. So the mics are not off. They're always hot when we're doing this, unless we purposefully turn them off. So if he and I get really quiet, which is rare, that's why you can hear the commercials sometimes. Dan Patrick has a poll up. If you could be the best in the world at one of these sports, which one would it be? Pickleball, cornhole, disc golf, or curling?
Curling.
I'd pick curling also. Although everybody's buying pickleball right now.
Pickleball's hot.
I think Odyssey should buy a pickleball team so we can learn how to play.
This afternoon, mostly sunny and pleasant with a high of 64.
Improve your gas mileage by properly inflating tires in your car.
It's time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell the world what is trending, and Rob explains to the world why it is trending.
Or just completely make something up.
Yeah, but it's going to be high-class educational 1% guess.
That's what I'm here
1% or guess, yes. Something I know nothing about. But before we talk about this, I just got to say two things. One, a shove is the start of a fight. And secondly, make sure that you subscribe and download Views from Mint Street, because it's Rob and I talking about the Carolina Panthers, bringing the same energy that we do here on the show onto the podcast, having fun, also fighting about some things. And we think you'll like it. And we think not only you would like it, but we think your friends would like it. We think that your friends' friends would like it. We think your friends' relatives would also like it. We also think that your enemies would like it. So tell all of them about the Views from Mint Street, found wherever you find your podcasts. I mean, wherever you find your podcast.
Wherever you find your podcast.
So hit that thing and do that thing for us, because we would appreciate it.
Click all the buttons.
Yeah, or smash it, which I don't get, because if you smash it, it doesn't work anymore. At least I think that's how that goes. All right, the first thing that's trending is OBJ.
Lot of talk that OBJ is on his way back to where? We don't know. I have made the prediction that I think that McCaffrey is a really good fit in Kansas City, but there's a lot of talk that, including from Travis Kelce and his brother Jason, that maybe the Chiefs' restructuring of contracts is to make room for OBJ. They are, you can say what you want, but they are not as good without Tyreek Hill. One more guy on the outside with a little bit of speed and a lot of pass catching ability would go a long way towards putting the Chiefs back up there and able to finish off the Buffalo Bills.
Wow,
That's a move.
So Tyreek Hill's the reason they lost the 2 games they lost.
Is that what I said? Or did I say they're not as good without him?
I know.
Which of those things did I say?
I know what you said. You're wrong, but I know exactly what you said.
You think they are as good without Tyreek?
I think they're better. Absolutely, I think they're better. I was glad to see him go, and the things that I mentioned while everyone was going, oh no, they're going to be horrible, that now some other receivers are going to get a chance to catch the ball, because now Patrick Mahomes, who was a young quarterback, an excellent young quarterback, but when he had that guy, he's always looking for that guy. Now he can look for other people, and he's doing that. It's the reason why you have like 5 receivers catching the ball during a game. I think that's more team than having that one guy you feel obligated to throw to. And Travis Kelce's still there. So there's that. All right. The next thing that's trending is Coldplay.
Hashtag Zach Wilson's playlist.
I don't know why it's trending, but it's trending.
Hashtag Zach Wilson's playlist. It's Coldplay's going on the Zach Wilson's playlist. Ain't no doubt about it. It's going on the playlist.
So I saw that Coldplay was trending and I just didn't even click on it. I mean, because, you know, that's why. They heard us talking about the Zach Wilson playlist and, you know, do some Coldplay in there.
I have to know now. The first 40 tweets when you search Coldplay are all in Spanish or Portuguese. So I guess Coldplay must be blowing up in South America.
They finally discovered the band. Good for them.
Coldplay. Hashtag Zach Wilson's playlist.
All right. And finally, Shane Beamer is trending.
There's a lot of talk going on. Like Shane-O, there's been a lot of conversation about Shane's offense and obviously the offense of Marcus Satterfield. You know, we had Emily Adams on yesterday. If you missed that, I'm going to post the audio from that podcast after the show today. A lot of people saying that Shane Beamer is still underperforming despite the talent he has on the team. I'm going to tell you right now, he can answer a lot of those questions if the Gamecocks show up on Saturday. A lot of them. We'll bring that up tomorrow because tomorrow we make our picks for the weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Rome's got you up next in the jungle. Mark and Diesel take it offsides at 3. That's all for us. We'll be back tomorrow to wrap up the week. It's the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
So I get I was sick at the beginning of the week, but I never picked out of the boo box, and you've never said anything. So
Yeah, you weren't really having a week, so I just let it be.
yeah, I know, but
We'll recap it next week.
okay. Well, I mean, I hate to not do it because it's part of the thing. So.
That's fine. All right, dude.